Warning, this video contains spoilers for anyone who is not caught up to the One Piece manga. Alright, this is my first attempt at this in about a month, probably more than a month. Holy shit, we're actually doing this. So One Piece. Now, what the fuck? I've never been the biggest fan of One Piece, as I'm sure you know. I've made plenty of videos clowning the series. Wait, have I made plenty of videos clowning the series? Anyways, there's things about One Piece that I don't really like. But all in all, I do enjoy the story. I think it's a phenomenal story, and for that reason, it's like the best-selling comic book of all time. I think that's well-deserved. It appeals to a larger audience than most other manga, and it's just got a great story, great characters, and probably the best world building I've ever seen in any story. There's some things that I just don't like about the story, and that's not to say that ruins the story for me. It's just like there are some things that I just don't enjoy and I think could have been done a little bit better, namely the pacing of the story and the introduction and conclusion of certain characters in different arcs. But all in all, again, I do think One Piece is great. I just want to preface that because I might go a little bit overboard with my comments on the series, especially the Wano arc. While I've complained about certain things, I have to give credit where credit is due and say that holy shit, these last few chapters have been nothing but perfection. And you don't often see me calling things perfection. Actually, that's a lie, because I say that in about every video on like every manga. But seriously, this was on another level. Now, back in the Wano days, I couldn't help but be let down when every other chapter, Kinemon would die for like the 69th time and get resurrected magically. Like, it was getting really annoying. I didn't even appreciate these characters. I didn't like the Scabbards. I didn't like half the characters in Wano, like Momonosuke. That kid was just annoying, and I just didn't like his character. I didn't like the character of Kinemon, the Scabbards, and the whole story of opening the borders of Wano and, you know, saving Wano from Kaido. It was just getting really stupid and repetitive, and I was ready to drop One Piece until Wano was finished. But thankfully, Wano finished just in time. It only took 200 chapters. I felt like the whole Kaido situation got old way before it got done. I mean, why the fuck do I have to sit here and watch Luffy get his ass handed to him for the 7th time and then get locked into some stupid prison for a good, I don't know, 30 chapters? Not to mention, if you're watching it through the anime, it's not only like 30 episodes, it's like 40 episodes because they take the pacing so slow in the anime. But yeah, moral of the story, Wano was way too long in my opinion. That's just what I think. Obviously, a lot of people are going to disagree, and I can already visualize the dislikes of this video going to the moon, but it's alright, because that's what I think about the Wano arc. The fact that nobody died when they're fighting two Yonko was also far too resembling of Disney. I know a lot of people say that, but it just has to be said. You're fighting two of the strongest characters in the story, and you don't kill, like, literally any characters. I can't even think of a character that died that has any significant importance in this story. Every single one of the Scabbards, what was their main purpose as a character? Was to go out dying to protect their country. We thought they died about 3 times in this entire fight, and none of them actually had any of the 9 of them die. Okay, that's a lie. A couple of Scabbards actually ended up dying. But then you also have Momonosuke screaming about becoming his dad for 3/4 of the arc. And then you have some dollar store wannabes of Odin who couldn't have had any stupid. And then you had Kaido and Big Mom being some of the more boring antagonists in the show, not die for almost 200 chapters. That's right, I called Big Mom and Kaido boring because that's just what I think. They just honestly seem to be big monsters. One of them being Kaido just wanting to die but not dying until Luffy forcefully killed him. I doubt he's even dead because it's One Piece. But these characters got kind of boring. Big Mom I just couldn't stand, not only because her design is just unbearable sometimes, but also because of the fact that her whole mother complex bullshit that happened at some point in the story that was kind of just plot armor for certain characters, and she's just like this monstrous character with nothing else to her, to be completely honest. Then you have Kaido, who's a pretty cool character, but I just got bored of him. Like, I'd love to see more from characters like Dragon and Shanks at that point in the story, but no, we just got more Kaido and Luffy losing for the 6th time and then finally beating him with Gear 5, which I will say was a very, very cool reveal. Probably the best Gear reveal in the entire story. I mean, this arc in total was just not the best. You know what, this arc was great. But now, ladies and gentlemen, now that I'm done roasting One Piece, now that I'm done commenting on the shitty components of Wano Kuni, let's talk about the good stuff, where One Piece officially popped off as soon as we got out of Wano and got into the Egghead. Now, Egghead is a pretty dumb name for an arc, and yet it ends up being one of the coolest arcs that I've seen in a very long time from this story. Whole Cake had a cool concept, Wano had a cool concept, had really great fights, and I will say there were some parts of Wano that I really did enjoy. I mean, the whole Odin flashback, Roger seeing the One Piece, the bounty reveals, and the numerous other things that happened outside of Wano, which was for the most part the parts of that arc that I enjoyed the most, were really great. All in all, I don't think Wano is a bad arc, I just think there were some parts that could have been done a lot better. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about Egghead. Oh my god. So Vegapunk was this mysterious character everyone was looking forward to meeting, and we finally got to see him. I mean him. Okay, what the fuck? But you know how to tell if a One Piece arc is going to be exceptional when most of the arc doesn't actually take place in the main setting. Like, this arc was supposed to be centered around Vegapunk and the secrets of the world, a lot of the events that happen in Egghead, but it's actually more about what's going on the outside world. At least relative to the other arcs and the recent arcs in the story, as it appears that Oda is trying to build up the supporting cast to hype up the final war. And by build up, I mean destroy, because both Law and Kid got their asses handed to them a little too quickly. You see, what really interests me about One Piece isn't entirely the main cast. Listen, I love the Straw Hats, but everyone else is 100 times cooler. Characters like Shanks, Garp, Dragon, Sabo, Mihawk, Crocodile, Emu, the Elders, all these characters needed more spotlight, and finally, it took over 1,000 chapters to actually get this, and when we got it, it was 100% worth it. You know, Oda tends to build things up for a very long time, but when he executes them incredibly well most of the time, and this is definitely one of the examples. Now, the first half or so of Egghead was centered around the crew, but it was really good writing. I did enjoy it with the whole arrival of CP0 and everything. That was great. Now, it wasn't insane compared to what we got outside of Egghead, but it was exceptional writing. Now, fast forward a few chapters and we get the introduction of Cross Guild, more Bonnie, always love Bonnie, Vegapunk, and then here we go. Emu nuking an entire country, the government trying to kill Vegapunk, who's connected to Dragon, and then Sabo is missing, and then Kuma is going crazy, and then Garp is setting out to fight Blackbeard, and then Shanks, and then Law, then Galaxy Fist, and then Buggy D Clown. At the time of this video, I'm sure another chapter or two has already come out, but you get the point. For the first time in a very long time, I'm extremely invested in One Piece. And by the way, the things that I just mentioned that happened in the story happened through the course of like 15 chapters. And this story is over 1,000 chapters long. My favorite thing about One Piece has always been, I know this is going to sound pretty repetitive, but the world building and characters of this story, oh my goodness, and especially how everything ties together. You can have great world building, great characters, but if things don't tie together and the mystery of the story does not compel the reader through 1,000 chapters, then it's not going to be a good story. And I don't think anyone needs to say that One Piece has done this exceptionally well. Oda's confidence in his writing style really shines in this final saga, as it finally feels like everything he was working on comes together and creates an unbelievable cluster of planetary clashes, ridiculous reveals, and best of all, the unparalleled mystery, which just seems to be getting deeper and deeper with every answer given to us. I mean, seriously, is there anything in storytelling more mysterious than what the One Piece is? I genuinely don't think so. Maybe the release date for Winds of Winter, but that's about it. I know this manga isn't for everybody. I thought it wasn't for me for the longest time, but here I am. And it only took 30 out of thousands of chapters to convince me that I am 100% invested into One Piece once again. This story is seriously incredible. Read One Piece, and this time I'm being serious.